Alright guys, so ladies, looking at our notes for today, call it angle, 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 and side, side, angle. Alright, those are the two rules that we're going to be looking at today. But for starters, let's take a look at angle, angle, angle. Right, so I'm going to have three angles given. You guys see my three angles there. The measurements for each are there. Since we have triangles, those angles are there. Let me just connect the points, because you have a dotted line to connect my points. And I notice that if I move a point, I make a triangle. Now if I move a point, I make a bigger triangle. But notice that my angles don't change. Right? My angles are the same thing. Now my question to you is, can I have two different triangles with the same angle? Yeah, right? We see a big triangle there, and we see a small triangle there, right? They're different. They're the same angles. So let's formalize this a little. Angle, angle, angle does not provide information regarding the sides of the two triangles, so the triangles are not congruent. Once again, angle, angle, angle does not provide information regarding the sides of the two triangles, so the triangles are not congruent. They might look alike, right? The two triangles look alike, but they're not the same size. They're not congruent. Right now we're dealing with triangle congruency, so I'm going to say angle, angle, angle is not congruent. Sometime later, we're going to talk about similarity. Instead of congruency, similarity. Similarity means it looks the same, just different size. But at least congruency is it looks the same, it's the same size. So I said this rule would work later for similarity, but for congruency, it does not. So we're looking at congruency. So angle, angle, angle does not work. I know in the previous worksheets, some triangles have angle, 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 and I kept on telling you guys, if it is not a rule that we know, it's not congruent. And that just left it at that. Right? I kept on telling you guys, we had 4 rules last week. If it's not a rule from those 4, it's not congruent. I didn't want to specify that you could have different triangles of the same size. I just left it as it's not congruent, but now we know why. Stephanie, you have a question.
So are you only using these 2 rules now, or are you using the previous
I'm
rules?
using all 6.
All 6?
The 4 from last week and the 2 that I'm going to add today.
Okay.
All right. The other rule we're going to have is going to be side, side, angle. So for starters, let me have an angle. So I have an angle there. Let me have another, a side next to it, and another side. Right there. See, there's my angle, side, side. Remember, I know last week we were dealing with side, angle, side. There were 2 sides in the included angle. But if you notice, this is not the included angle. Remember, what I mean with included angle is the angle between the sides. Right? That was last week for side, angle, side. This angle is not in between. And as a matter of fact, let me connect this point. You notice one of my sides I can move, right? I know that's not a triangle, but I'm going to move it so I can create a triangle. You guys see there's my triangle. Remember, the only things that I cannot change are my angle B, my side BA, and my side AB. If I move this around, I'm not changing the side. I created a triangle there, but look, if I move this around, notice how I create a different triangle. So we're going to say side, side, angle. See, there's one triangle, there's a different triangle. So side, side, angle, we're going to say it is not congruent. There is one thing though. There is one time where side, side, angle works. So let me show you guys when it does work. It works only if the angle is 90 degrees. So if the angle is 90 degrees, that's the only side, side angle that works. Now I'm going to show you guys why. There's my angle, there's my side. There's my other side. So in fact, let me connect this. So see where's one triangle? And if I move it around, I have another triangle. But if you compare the two triangles, it's the same triangle, it's just flipped. Now for congruency, we don't care which way is it facing. We just care whether it looks the same or not. So for side-side angle, the only angle that works is for 90 degrees. But notice how we know on right triangles, we know the big side has a hypotenuse, the small side has a leg. So we're not going to call this side-side angle. We're going to call it hypotenuse leg, which we're going to abbreviate it with HL. HL for hypotenuse leg. So once again, HL is the only side-side angle that works. So let's formalize this. Let's just say angle side-side does not prove congruency. So angle side-side does not prove congruency, right? Angle side-side is not a rule. Unless the angle is 90 degrees, but then we call it HL, hypotenuse leg. Angle side-side does not prove congruency unless the angle is 90 degrees, but then we call it HL, hypotenuse leg. Remember, angle side-side is not a rule. I showed you guys earlier, I created two different triangles. So angle side-side is not a rule, unless the angle is 90 degrees, but then we call it hypotenuse leg. Do keep in mind that even though we're going to use only two letters, HL, we do have three markings on the triangle. Remember how last week I kept on telling you guys, make sure you have three markings on your triangle. Because we're going to have the hypotenuse of the leg and the 90 degrees. So even though I'm not mentioning the 90 degrees on the name, HL, you have to have the 90 degrees. So you have to have three markings. As an idea for the rules, you know angle, angle, angle doesn't work. And angle, side, side, an idea for angle, side, side, if you abbreviate it with the letters, remember how last week we were doing SAS or SSS? If you abbreviate it with the letters that angle, side, side has, for you guys to know it is not a good title, because you will have bad words on your paper. So make sure you have no bad words on your paper. And angle, side, side does give you a bad word. Or you guys cannot go and tell a person you're an angle, side, side, because I'm pretty sure that will get you in trouble, right? So like I said, don't have bad words on your paper. Any questions?
So we gotta write it out later.
Angle side side doesn't work unless it's 90 degrees. But then we call it HL. We don't call it angle side side, we call it HL.
So you put HL on ASS.
Yes. Put HL because it works only if it's 90 degrees. Don't call it angle side side. Angle side side doesn't work. Alright, any questions? Alright, let's take a look at today's work. Looking at the first one, the directions are like last week. Say the two triangles are congruent. If they are, state how do you know? I see three angles on the triangles, right? So we have three angles. The three markings that we have are three angles. Is that a rule? No. So it's not. So we're going to call this not congruent. Look at your notes. What does AAA say?
Should not provide information about the size of the triangle, so it is not congruent.
So it's not congruent. So AAA, I showed it to you guys just so we know what happens, but AAA does not prove congruent. Remember how I showed you guys, I had like a small triangle and then I had a big triangle? I have two different triangles with the same angle. And they were not congruent, so angle, angle, angle does not work. So even though we looked at it, it does not work. All right, let's take a look at question number 2. Yeah, I noticed, to begin with, I noticed that there are two sides. So I'm going to write 2x. Then I look at the angle. The angle is not in between the sides, so I will write it not in between the sides. But then I'm going to note that words in my paper, but when the angle is 90 degrees, that's the only angle side that works, but we call it HL. Keep in mind though that even though I'm only using 2 letters, hypotenuse leg, even though I'm only using 2 letters, there should be 3 markings. Yes?
What about if you use it as SSA, how you have it on
SSA is not a rule. Remember, I showed you guys, just because I showed it to you guys, SSA or side-side angle, doesn't mean it always works. The 4 rules from last week, they work. Right? Remember, from the 4 rules last week was they are congruent. The 4 from last week. But the 2 from today, the first one does not work, and the second one only if it's 90 degrees. So don't write it side-side angle, call it HL. Yes? Number 4.
What if that angle wasn't 90 degrees and
It was like, let's call this like 87 degrees.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't work. And then it's not congruent. Remember, the only angle side that works is when it's 90 degrees. And if it's not 90 degrees, then it doesn't work. Then I will call it not congruent. But now on number 4, well, I look at this one. I see 2 sides and the angle in between, right? But then I look at the other triangle. Do you have the same markings on the other triangle?
No.
No? So not congruent. Remember, they have to be marked the same way. Number 3. All right, let's take a look at number 3. I see 2 sides there. Is the angle between the sides? I know angle side is not good. Is that angle 90 degrees?
No.
So I cannot fix it to HL, so I'm just going to call it not congruent. Remember, not every angle side works, only if it's 90 degrees. But then we call it HL, hypotenuse leg. Take a look at number 5. Right, I need 3 markings per triangle. I cannot come up with the third one, so not congruent. For number 6, we can mark the side that they both share. What rule is this? Side. Just like a student told me last week, not from this class, from a different period, he came and he said, well, the first day sounds weird because we were just looking at SSS, and you quite make sense what SSS stood for, but once you understand what the letters stand for, and you understand the markings on the triangle, this assignment is actually easy, right? On the quiz from Friday, some of you guys did great. Some of you guys were really lost. So I'll say you guys are in between. You guys are either good or you guys are really bad. So make sure if you guys don't understand, make sure you guys ask for questions. Alright, any questions at all?
Number 15.
15. Looking at number 15, I can mark that angle because they're vertical. So I can mark that angle. So then I look at one triangle and I ask myself, there's 2 of something. Is it 2 sides or 2 angles? 2 angles. So let me put 2A. Is the side between the angles? No. So let me put it at the side. And then I double check on the other triangle, make sure I have the same markings, which I do. And I know angle side is a rule. Right? We learned that last week. So remember, I'm using the 4 from last week, which they always work. And the 2 from today, angle never works, but angle side only if it's 90 degrees. Alright, any questions? Yes.
Number 29.
29. Alright, let's take a look at number 29. I can mark that angle because it's vertical angle theorem. I notice that on each triangle, I have three angles. Is angle, angle, angle a rule that works? No. So we're going to call this not from rule. One thing, if you guys remember, last week I told you guys I was going to show you guys some rules that did work, and then some rules that did not work. I don't know if you guys remember, but I said it last week. Last week I showed you guys only rules that do work. Today I'm showing you guys rules that do not work. All right. Any other questions?